Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Strike a Light podcast from the Light Review, where we will talk about all things mysterious and challenging and who's ever heard of this stuff in the UK architectural lighting sector. I'm John Bullock, and I'm joined as ever with my very good friend Chris Forden. And hello. And the question that we're asking today is, weirdly, independent specification and the curse of the familiar. Now, if that sounds weird to you, it's weird to me as well, and it was his idea. But this is Chris. This is what I think you mean. This is what I think, and then you can tell me that I'm completely wrong, and we'll talk about something else. But I think you're having a bit of a pop at people like me, independent specifiers, fee charging lighting designers who claim to be able to go wherever we like in the marketplace and go to the very, very best that our clients want. Whereas actually what happens is that we go back to the same people we've been using for the last decade because they are familiar. So the curse is, I guess the curse is twofold, if I'm right on this one. There is the curse that we're cheating on the client a little bit because we're not examining the marketplace with as much depth as we like to pretend. And we're also not giving a proper crack of the whip to those manufacturers who we don't know because we haven't bothered to find out. Have I got it right or have I got it wrong?
Yeah, I think I can't remember who said it. It might have been Dickens. Familiarity breeds contempt? I think that probably nails it for something.
It's something like that, yeah.
But I can totally understand, because obviously I'm a light designer as well, and I can totally understand that the comfort that you get from using something you've used before and you know it's right. You know that the person was happy with the job. You know that it did everything it said on the tin. Obviously, you get into a rut then, don't you? And you think, that's what I'm going to go to every time. And there's that fear. My biggest fear is always, and this comes down to service levels from manufacturers, salesmen, is finding someone new who won't be able to support me. And I think there's so many different elements to using the same product, because if you go to a new manufacturer and they don't pick up the phone at whatever time it is in the morning or the night where something's gone wrong on site, you're going to be stuffed. And you want that manufacturer to be there for you. And that is a massive part of, I mean, you could have the best product in the world, but if your support isn't good enough, then no one's going to use you. That's, I think, what is a message there. But yeah, I've used products and I think there must be something maybe better, but I'm not going to use it because I just don't trust them. I don't trust that they're going to support me.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because we've already expanded the conversation. We've already started the conversation to go beyond specification of fixtures, but to actually go to what lies behind that fixture. That, as you say, the trust that the people that you're talking to will be there for you if the shit hits the fan.
That is the trick, yeah. I mean, you know that you want a product that is going to be equally good with color rendering, that the color temperature is going to be the same. So there is a rationale behind going for the same product range from the same, because you know that the Urcos of this world, they're going to use the same chips. They're going to match all of the colors and things like that. So you know that your job is going to be spot on. When you start to veer off of that graph, you could say, you're going to be running into trouble unless you've done it before. And then there's always that first time you're going to use something, right? The first time you use something, before you've used it, you never really know how good it's going to be. And that's another problem, isn't it? You have to use it to know how good it is.
Yes, you do. I'm sitting here quietly trying to sort of go through my own process and thinking about where I sit in all of that, because I think you're right. If we have had previous conversations about special fixtures, things that make a job Whereas I think what we're probably talking about here is, let me give you one of my
Predictability is
predictability.
predictability.
It's one of those things, that my rule of three on every light fitting that we ever specify is that in every space there will be either below stairs staff, a butler, or a mistress in every fitting, and that's my Downton Abbey reference. And there is only one mistress in a room. There might be 3 or 4 butlers who are the incredibly elegant parts of something that you don't look at. And there are the grafters, the things that actually do the work. And it's those grafters that I think we probably cheat longest on, because they're the ones we go, I know that works. I know exactly what I want to put there. And I can take you to several jobs where I've used exactly that fitting, and it's great. But what I'm not doing, as I say, is I'm not acting as an independent specifier, because I've locked into that supply chain, which is satisfactory to me. It's good to me. The people who I work with, if I need them, as you say, they're at the end of the phone. You know what the fitting does. You've got an idea about how well it works, how well it can be installed. Because every time you go to a new fitting, you've no idea how easy that is, or how difficult that is to install. So the temptation is always to sort of to drop down out of that true role of independence. And of course, I'm not suggesting that there is any kind of financial incentive going on here. I don't think we're talking about brown envelopes and backhanders. I think we're just talking about convenience. How much is convenience worth? I'll give you the spec, because I know you're not going to give me any shit, and I'll take that as a positive.
I think that's a massive part of the design process, and you can't put a cost on that. Almost, it's to that thing you wake up in the middle of the night thinking, "Oh God, is that product going to be okay? Are they going to be? Is it going to fall out the ceiling?" That's worth its weight in gold. And unfortunately, it does mean that you are always, once you find something good, then you're going to go back to it. And why wouldn't you? I mean, I have a similar thing with Cardo. It's probably a little bit more expensive, but they're bloody good. They turn up when they turn up. They give you the time slot they come into. They very rarely have changed things. So why would I want to change it? And you know that you need food, right? And it's very convenient. This is the convenient, and then we're also busy in our lives. We're all going at 100 miles an hour. The slightest bump in the road is going to really mess us up. So that when you get that product specification, you've got it right the first time, it's really difficult to change it afterwards. For mundane products, like
do we think that there's I'm thinking about this the cynicism in ongoing business, and who are the worst? The insurance companies. The insurance companies game. See, I assume they're still doing it. They game us. If we just go back to them and say, can you give us a quote for the next year's premium? The first thing they do is go, sucker, because here's a fool we've got. Well, we'll just keep them on the end of the line, and we'll just keep ramping everything up, as opposed to, I'm going to go somewhere new and I'm going to get a 30% discount. So I wonder whether there is whether it's an intended, or whether it's something that comes by accident, that there is a price we pay by not following a truly independent research line. How do I know there isn't something better? How do I know that there isn't someone out there who will do at least as well as the people I'm dealing with? But the people that I'm dealing with just get lazy because, they know we've got a project. Well, we'll get that, because we always get their work.
I've got a real life example, and I was asked to look at some. I was asked to look at some of the absorption, the light fittings that absorb sound.
The acoustic fixtures.
The acoustic fix. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. The acoustic fixtures. I was randomly in I was having a coffee, and I heard some gentleman talking about some acoustic fixtures. So I went over and had a chat with him, and I was like, this is lovely stuff. I mean, that is quite random as it happens. I looked at their products and I thought, wow, this is great. I could do something a little bit new. It was like me in a candy shop. I mean, I love light fittings and I love design. So I saw them. I thought, this is new. This is innovative. So I went down the road of using them. I got all of the prices and things like that. I started to design them. They didn't have any photometrics. I was like, how can I design it without any photometrics? They said, well, just use the lamp. I said, oh, I'm getting further away from really what my offering is. I'm supposed to be quite fully on board with all the photometric offerings and the calculations, and so I thought, okay, I still like the products, but this is a little bit of a brick wall for me. I can't go any further, and it's because I tried something new. I went back to the product, which was a lukewarm product. They had all the photometrics, and they could give you all of the sound, acoustic information that you required, and they would calculate it for you. So there was no way that I could go with the one that I preferred aesthetically, because the solid offering of a well-known manufacturer is a good thing, isn't it? You can't put a price on it, really.
But there is a conversation here that we can have that very few other people in the specification supply chain can have, and that is because we are independent of what we do, that when we meet someone and we go, love the product, think that's fantastic, I know exactly where I can use that, but before I can use that, I need your photometrics.
Yes.
And they go, we haven't got the photometrics. I said, well, in that case, sorry, but I can't use you. So so that project that was potentially on the desk is no longer on the desk. Now, I'm a nice guy. I will help you as much as I can. But every other designer and every other illumination engineer who comes to you will say, where's your photometric data? So until you get your shit together and you do that. Now, we can say that to people. And I don't know about you, but I say that to people all the time. Wouldn't it be great if you had this? Wouldn't it be great, even better, if you did that?
But the biggest surprise is this range was massive and they had loads of products. So I was saying, how do they manage to sell any of this stuff without having any of this data up front? How do they manage it? I mean, is it just an aesthetic thing? I mean, the acoustic world of lighting is really interesting, actually. There's loads of facets to it. And I can't stand being in a space where you can't hear yourself think because of all of the sound bounced around. But that is, I don't understand how they could use that as a product without having the photometrics.
If they are looking at it as a it's acoustic, it has acoustic properties, but it's essentially a decorative item. How many decorative fixtures out there have been photometrically tested?
You don't need it.
None of them.
Exactly.
So they're looking at a different marketplace than the one that you're looking at, and you're saying, I can extend your market potential, and I'm asking nothing for it other than you go and get the bloody thing tested for me.
Yes, it's a minimum, I'd say. You can do it online now, can't you, with a 3D model? You can do the photometry 3D model.
I'll let somebody else do that for me. I'll just say, just give me the data.
Well, no, indeed. I mean, that is the way it works, isn't it? But
it is the way it works. But I think we've got this this sort of complexity around this topic. We've called this the curse of the familiar.
It is the curse.
Well, a curse, you think, is a bad thing?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can give you another example. Via Bazzuno, they're a great company. They have great events. They've got a lovely showroom in London. And I thought, I like this company. It's brilliant. I could use it. And then I went onto into their catalogue. And I thought, bloody hell, this is going to cause me a headache and a half. There's so many components and there's so many bits. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this because the simplest object is now super more complicated, and I don't know the company. I don't know the salesman that well. I'll just go for something that looks similar and maybe isn't as good in terms of design, but is familiar. I'm not going to fall down a crevice and be crawling out at like 3 o'clock in the morning because someone's beaten my head with a rock.
Well, but you're talking about a company that I know, and I know the guy who owns the company, and I know it's and okay. I know it's. I wasn't going to use the name again. You now use it twice.
Oh no, they're great. I love them.
But there is a very personal approach to the way that all of that stuff is put together. So it's one of those things that you go, I would really like to use this stuff. I think this is absolutely great, and I'm prepared to put in the effort to learn how to specify it. And that's what you have to do, and maybe but again, the curse there is that you're possibly letting down your client by not going to the place which is more difficult. So the curse of the familiar is the curse you're putting on the client, rather than the fact that the fitting that you go to is one that you know and you're happy with it. Well, there's no curse in that. All that there is a bit of laziness on your part, a bit of laziness on my part. We went for that because it doesn't matter. One thing I will say to people is that we're having a conversation about something that doesn't exist. Now, if we decide not to go with this fitting, the only people in the world who know about this fantastic fitting that doesn't exist is you and me. So if we don't do it, who loses? Only you and me. We find something that works almost as well, something that I'm familiar with. Everybody looks at it and goes, well, that's nice. That's a win. That's a win. But it's familiar. So that curse of I think the curse of the familiar is something that we put onto our clients.
I think people completely underestimate the amount of time that things take, and the time pressures are so great often that that is also another element. You want to get something done quickly. You want to know where everything is. That's another element. That is another thing, actually. You know where stuff is. You know where to find it with a lot of companies. There's some great companies out there, and the websites are great, and you just click on it and everything's there for you. It's all just in one bundle. I love that. If I have to search around for it, and it's really difficult, I can't stand it. It doesn't matter. It could take hours finding stuff.
Okay. Now, can I suggest that taking on a job where you say, I can have this ready for you by the end of the week, is possibly not realistic. Whereas if you say, I'll have this ready for you by the end of next month, is possibly more realistic if you feel that the need to be able to do that investigative work. Because if they say, can you get this out to us by the end of tomorrow? And you go, yeah, I can get you a version of what you want by the end of tomorrow, because I know what I'm going to put on the drawing. I know what I'm going to put on the spec. It won't be original because it's stuff I've used and I've used and I've used. If you want something that is really, really nice, then I need the space and I need the time. So you're going to have to pay for that.
Now, how many people do you think would just go, just get it back to me tomorrow? I reckon 50-50.
Not in my world. Not in my world.
You live in a more...
We talk to different people, you and me, and you are in an altogether more fraught area, because the guys that you're talking to, and you're happy to talk to them, that's absolutely fine, are under that kind of time pressure. Whereas I will say to somebody, we'll take this on. It's going to, we will have a chat about what we're trying to do. I'll go away and think about it. I'll come back to you and we'll have a talk about it. And then we'll start putting things together, and then I'll show you one or two things. And in 3 months' time, we might have a finished design. And they go, oh, I didn't realize it was going to take that long. And you go, it will take that long. Even if I only charge you for a month, it's going to take 3 months. So I'm going to charge you for 3 months. And so I think part of that is we game ourselves. We game ourselves. You're put under pressure because some fool comes to you and says, I need this by the end of play tomorrow. And they're coming to you because you're an independent lighting designer, because you've got a skill, because you've got a craft, you've got an art, and you can do these things. And then you go, that's all right, I'll take that on. That's great. And then you stop. You end the phone call and you go, shit, I've done it again.
There is an element
I can't go. I can't go into that catalogue to look for that fitting that I suspect that company's got because I saw them at Light 25. But I can't do that because I haven't got the time to do it.
That process sounds familiar, because you do fall back on the things that are well known to you. Because why wouldn't you? Because if you're up against it, then you're not going to.
The reason you wouldn't is because you're meant to be a creative lighting designer.
But you've already suggested that you do the same. So you can't.
I'm not denying it. I'm not denying it. I'm not denying that there are elements where I'll go, I mean, if I put a handful of downlighters on any scheme, it's as much as I do. So am I always going to look for a different downlight to do the same job as the last dot?
Yeah.
Because I don't care about them one way or the other. But if it's a wall light, when was the last time I used that wall light? Very possibly never. But what about that pendant? Never use that pendant. So the things that matter to me are the things where the time is spent. If we're talking about the retail shop, the car showroom, the hotel lobby, all of that stuff, where we are on the verge of heading for a commodity style of specification, then we are doing it because we're good at it. But we're not good at it because we are being creative in how we're getting the light out of the ceiling or out of the wall. Is that hard? Is that hard? Is that hard, me saying that to you?
No. I mean, it's horses for courses, isn't it? And those spaces are changing because they're trying to attract more people in after all of the shenanigans that has been going on in the economy and stuff. So people are changing even offices are changing to invite people in, and because people are working from home and they want them to be there. So it is a changing world. I think it's about the client understanding the time that goes into finding something different as well, and understand that there's a cost involved in that, a cost of time and money, not just cost.
When a client comes to you and says, "I want to do something different," and you go, "Fantastic. It's going to take a bit longer." Well, I don't understand why. Well, because if you wanted the same thing as you've always done, we already know how to do that. So it's as long as it takes me to put dots on a drawing, if you want that. But when you say, I want something different, but you can't actually define what the different is, there is a thing called the creative process that we actually need to show you what different means before we can say, here's a scheme. Otherwise, it's the same bloody thing again.
I think that is a great way to wrap up. So thanks very much. That's been I think that was a very good session, actually. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And you can find us wherever you find us. Isn't that great? Or on the Light Review.
On the Light Review.
Thank you. And good night, Vienna.
Good night, Vienna. Who said that?
I don't know, some Viennese chap probably.